Yo, so I'm back. Name's Ronald J. Love. The date is I think it's 2/15, 2/18, 2/18, and I haven't blogged in I ain't blogged in like a minute. Um, write this down. I don't know if I'm gonna look at my hand later, anyways, but I haven't blogged in like 3 days. Um, I believe the reason for it being is that I've I've been I've been learning. You know, you never stop learning. You got to continue to be you got to continue to not only be humble, even if you're not humble, you got to continue to always be open to endless possibilities. And it's hard for people to fathom that type of idea, or uh, it's not the word's not Mandarin, or it could be Mandarin, but mentality. I think the word is Mandarin, but to fathom that mentality because of the conformative uh, way that we perceive our reality. Like we have to be a certain way, a certain morale, and a certain understanding, and this will be the steps on to greatness and highlights, and so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying? That didn't explain my whole point entirely, but what I'm not gonna start that again. What I'm trying to get across to you by saying that is that we have to embrace, yeah, this is what I need to say. We have to embrace every single last, my charger fell out of my pocket, last emotion, art form, biological gene, organism, every single thing that we do, smell, and see throughout all our senses and existence. We have to embrace these things and explore them full on to get the maximum experience and fulfillment out of our generation, out of our generational and evolutional. It's not the word is not understanding, but experience. It's the word is experience. We have to get the full on experience of all of these things in its entirety, as much as we possibly can get a hold of while we're alive. And why that is important is because we we pass on this DNA information through our sexual evolvement with one another, and as we pass on what we had experienced here on Earth, we'll pass on to the next life, and throughout our desecration, throughout our energy and our dead bodies into the ground and throughout the universe, our vibration in which we experience life will go on and live on, and then be recreated, and re-emitted back into into you know into nature. And they'll be reformed again. Not necessarily, you know, your whole entity, but it'll be spread out and reformed into different things. But as you are here, it is very important. This is what I've been learning this whole time. And this is actually a part of my training in which what the aliens were trying to tell me, and another mental block in which I was not experiencing. So this is another Kickstarter by those aliens. Another Kickstarter from what they taught me. These aliens is to experience and embrace every single last thing that you do and is capable of. I had an alien homeless black friend over there by UCLA named Aya. His name is Aya. He looked like that dude off of Jodeci slash a different world. The guy with the flip prescription glasses with the shades and stuff. He looked just like him. Um, he looked just like him, and but he kind of looked like his alien forms. And those type of aliens that look just like those black aliens with them high top face and they dark skin and they got them flippy hairdos and stuff. Those are actually a race of aliens out in outer space. And there are also African tribes too and stuff like that. But um, those type of aliens tend to be more artistically inclined with like psychedelic engineering, biopsychedelic engineering, and they are similar to like insects. They are very fond of like insect beings and the way they build things on a different scale. It's not higher just because we're human beings. It's on another dimensional scale. But what he taught me when I spoke to him, he was in the middle of the street, right, like one of these bars that split the street from going one way from the next, from the other, and I was standing there as he was. There was aliens still talking to me, and they were kind of letting down too. They were starting to diminish as the spiritual process in which they take upon you when they're training you is that they everybody telekinetically that needs to teach you something is talking to you at one time. And like, they saying they put you in psych wards and stuff like that. They be like, how many people talking to you? After a while, do they stop talking to you and stuff? A lot of those people actually speak to alien spirits or there are people in their heads. Mine, as I would explain it and probably, explain it on their behalf as well, those people in psych wards or people that have this problem, um, dealing with other dimensional and otherworldly beings or ghostly beings and whatnot, is that, and this is also spoken in like spiritual romantic books and interpretations of religions and stuff, is that you can't get rid of certain demons until you come to not wits, but you you come to a certain revelation. You hit a point. You hit a point in which that demon has no other way or reason to leave you. You know what I'm saying? It's a natural way of the universe, God teaching you. It's another natural practice in which you have to beat your gurus from what the gurus taught you in martial arts. You can't pass a class unless you know, get an A in the class, or you prove to the teacher that what they taught you, what he or she taught you, surpasses uh, the curriculum in which you understand, thus moving you up to the higher grade. So what they did to me is it's all the same thing. So it wouldn't be far fetched that they would practice similar basic, comprehension, functioning ideas in order to teach you a certain way that you know that emits the natural way in which evolution just sparks, just constant kineticism, understanding, comprehension, elevation, build, comprehension, elevation, you know, meditations, build, you know what I'm saying, expand. It's the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Even though, like I said, it's infinity. So we go out here and we expand immensely through our understandings and the depths in which our hairs exist. Uh, Me myself being an individual, I exist in my own romantic realm from which evolution made me, and this is my space. But we all have a foundation at that infinitive kinetic level that brought us all together in the first place, which is sex, and then we spread out again. You know what I'm saying? It's like, this is me, this is what I do, this is this and that and so forth. But we have a foundation that explains everything, and we all go through it at the same time. I mean, we all go through it, kinetically, connectively, connectively. But we're all, everything around here is leaf trees. Everything is completely, completely different. That expansion goes throughout the spans of the universe. So it's a lot to think about. There's a lot of individuality out there, but there is a foundative um, understanding, which is physics. I believe science, physics, religion, spirituality. But yeah. So all those aliens. So just continue on with the story. All those aliens were all speaking in my head at one time, and I couldn't get rid of any of the aliens until they got done teaching me. Until they got done teaching me what exactly they wanted me to learn. And once they taught me whatever they needed to teach me, now I shouldn't say whatever. That sounds a little disrespectful, but that's another thing that what I'm saying. They saying just be natural. It's just like one of the commanders, his deal with me, or just anybody, and his another uh, memo that they have was just that they spoke upon telekinetically as a foundation is that you walk your own walk. So even the teachings that those people were trying to teach you didn't necessarily have to be the teachings that you had to follow. But since they were teaching you and your attraction attracted them, that means they still had something to teach you. You know what I'm saying? Like, um, not even to jump the gun, like my main primary teacher, he was a sex god. He was like a sex alien. But as you can see, as I'm talking about the infinity, it's not all about the intimacy and romance of having sex with a woman. I mean, it is, but my knowledge doesn't stop there. My knowledge from sex, which is the beginning of time of everything, expands out throughout everything that exists from having sex with a woman. My positive to her negative, her positive to my negative. You know what I'm saying? Expands far greater than us having sex, but all we really ever need to do is have sex in this world and just be okay. Do what we need to do here and we'll survive. You know what I'm saying? Um, so the commander, his thing was like, raw thought and stuff like that. But that's not my point. I mean, it is my point. But I'm just letting you know and putting you inside of my head. Putting you inside of my head to further let you know what I was going through at the time. So I was speaking to Aya. Every traffic was going just like this. And we were sitting in the middle of this that bar that separates the one street from the other. And there were other aliens talking to me and whatnot. And some of their powers, one of the common powers that they shared was that they can make like cars appear. It's like we have, foundative abilities to be sexy or sexual or artistic and whatnot. Like my power was the penis, you know, or other vice versa. Females can have the same power, but there would be of the womb, so they can speak to lives before they came, and I can speak to like children, or I can speak to dead people, or I can hear spirits, and I can hear people that were practicing their Kundalini processes, speaking to trying to find, new babies or new elements to create and stuff like that, new elemental babies to create. So that was my power. But you could also learn their powers too. Like you could, you could like take an element like alchemy or telekinesis, television, or what they would call it, which is like clairvoyancy or something like, something along that lines of using your psychic ability to. It's not called any of that, but it's called something. I think it's called Kai. It's called Kai or Chi. I think it's called Kai, and that's the power that Caucasian people have. Is a Caucasian and Asian people have. Like people uh, boundarily have it, like how I'm trying to express to you guys now. It's like we all have the same abilities, but your attributes vary from from the day you were born, from where you were born, your race, ethnicity. You know what I'm saying? Your psychic abilities vary. You know what I'm saying? But of course, if this is of your element, you're white, Caucasian, or black and whatnot. You know, you're gonna have an increasing psychic ability to do certain things. You know what I'm saying? Black people is sex. You know what I'm saying? And so Latino people, they're spicy, closer to the water. But black people, Caribbeans, Africans, we have a huge thing with sexuality. You can see in like slavery, racism, all that stuff. They constantly had sex with black people. They just couldn't contain themselves, and it was never like everybody was all always running to white women. But there's no offense to their part. They're intelligent, they're sexual on their half, but it wasn't as gravitational as black people were. But that's not taking. But what I'm explaining is not taking it away from anybody else. I'm just explaining how um, how we are all foundatively equal and made from the same in the same form, but there's further in-depth knowledge, um, elementary with with us uh, with us ethnic with us through our ethnicities as well as our individualities. You know what I'm saying? We have huge variables and attributes that come from uh, an immense a hugely immense bank of different DNA combinations that that go throughout the whole realm of the universe because of the vibrations that we receive from everybody, just to constantly create um, original, authentic, and original organisms, human beings, organisms of all types and kinds. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. So, so with that being said, just embrace absolutely everything about you because you are unique. You know what I'm saying? It's not a single thing wrong with you. That's why another thing that I don't I don't believe um, I don't believe the commentation that they say that you're born in sin. A lot of people try to use that as a pitching point. In theory, I mean it's not even in theory. I don't even want to put that idea out there. You're built, you're born on a foundation without being in the sin. You know what I'm saying? You are innocent. You are in a sin. You are innocent. You are in a sin. You are in a sin. You are in constant evolution. You are not born in sin, innocent. You are born in a sin. You are born in sin, innocent. You are born in sin. Like you're constantly elevating. You're born in sin. You know what I'm saying? Thank the world, thank the universe for giving me that right there, because I just reapproached that now. Now I understand, the wordplay. Once again, that wordplay is crazy, and how it actually explains a lot of this science. And you have to actually this like right here. I didn't go to college. I mean, I went to college for a little bit, yeah, but college, school, nothing. No academies, institutes, nothing. Nowhere that I've ever went other than me doing my own independent research and meeting these aliens and spoke. I didn't even mention that we spoke the same language. Like I speak and I drop these hour to 2 hour blogs and nobody's feeling me and nobody's hearing what I said. And I promise you, like I spoke upon it before, like one of my primary teachers, he was the sex dude. He was like a sex disco dude at Venice Beach and whatnot, and he was like in charge of like the sexual realm and stuff. That was his bit, you know what I'm saying? But the one, the guy that was like the overseer, but he was kind of like the scapegoat, just to seem like the overseer, but he actually was the overseer. He was an extremely intelligent dude. Like if I lived in a world in which everything was correct and we were in outer space, dude would probably have been my one of he dude would probably be real. Dude would probably be my best friend. And if they didn't go through that alien carnage and stuff that they had to go through in their worlds and stuff like that, he'd probably say I was his best friend too. You know what I'm saying? He was black. He seemed like he was from the jungle, but he was from outer space too. And like how I'm trying to get this information out there, it's like they would just stand there and they were like, everything you saying, and we work in our spiel too, and we're trying to get it going as well. We got a lot of things on our plates, but we out here, we out here preaching the real. We out here kicking you guys past that realm because need I mind you, I had a mental block still, and I didn't understand everything yet. Plus, I just met all my teachers, so they haven't even taught me everything yet. All I had was ideas and like an insufficient amount of confidence towards a lot of things, but I had a lot of. I didn't even have huge pride. Like my pride and my ego was gone because I was so I had to be open and I had to continue to try to learn things and I had to learn everything from scratch. You know what I'm saying? And that doesn't even give you the pathway of being accepted to the celestial road, being humble and what's the name, open-minded. There's another thing I'm trying to express to you. Everybody's completely different in depth, in huge varieties, in huge, immense varieties. We're not meant to understand everybody, but we're meant to understand everybody. We're not meant to understand everybody in the same way. So once you meet another person, best believe you're already in an offset. You know what I'm saying? If you have a certain mindset to it, that that right there with what I just said applies to how I think. There might be people that have that embedded in them to always pull up to people differently because they understand that aspect of life. You know what I'm saying? I do. But for some odd reason, I run into people and I think I can just not judge them equally, but I think just, I got them all. Like, I don't even believe I have them all figured out. I just keep that foundation in mind, you know, so that I can understand it and then it splatters out, not recognizing that it might already be splattered out in the first place and that I might be catching some splatters before I catch their foundation. You know what I'm saying? And then I end up trying to work with their splatterness instead of actually working with their foundations, you know, in, you know, within that perception when I deal with those type of interactions. Now you can still go off of foundations. Of course, you never fail by going off of foundations, no matter where they may be at. No matter what. But they might still be holding on to certain fabrications and understandings of their reality to um, uh, interact with you with and try to stay away from their foundation just to try to throw you off. But as long as you're centered in the line and you know what you're talking about, you know, through the dirt on, through the dirt on, you have no reason to wave because you know you're solidified in the truth. You're in the light. There's nothing breaking that. that seal from you because you were in the right seal. You're only for righteousness. You're only you're only for the innocence. You know what I'm saying? That's all you're doing. You're innocent. You're just excelling. But just because you're innocent does not mean you have to be without um, the natural means of protecting yourself. The terms of this is I want younger people to hear this part because people believe they're innocent, that you have to be proper, that you have to be non-sexually, you don't have to be sexually active, that you can't fend for yourself, that you can't fight for yourself. They teach you to be timid. They teach you to be dumb. They don't believe you can handle certain information. It's a natural thing for you to, of course, cling to your elders in a more adolescent way, um, a child without lesson, but you're just doing it to gain knowledge from those people. You don't act the same. It's more of a pass. It's more of a pass towards people you trust into your heart to give them information by being that way, for acting as an adolescent, not necessarily, you know, negatively as an adolescent, but positively, um, in an innocent way of an adolescent, being without lesson an adolescent and being innocent, wanting to ascend by being out of lesson. Teach me because you're older than me, you're smarter than me, you're stronger than me. Teach me. So that's where you'll get, and that's where you'll get um, maturity. I want to manager. I want to be a man that has been on tour with lesson, experienced. Adolescent, I have no lessons. Mature, mature with experience. I want to be more mature so I can handle these situations. Take me on the road, take me and give me more experience so I can learn. That is positive acceleration. That is easy and positive acceleration. And you primarily act um innocent. Okay, so you you primarily act positively innocent with people you trust, and adolescent with people you trust when you know that they have great information to feed you. Now, that was a great point that I made, but this is the point that I'm trying to say about Aya and what he taught me and what the aliens taught me about embracing all my emotions. Now, these children can also be in adolescence, but use their naturality and their understanding in their own nature, that I can deceive these people, that I can deceive beings around me, and I can do certain things to trick them to just give me what I want. So even though these adolescence and innocence can be positive, I can also use this as deception to get something that I want certain other people to see, that I don't want them to see or know that I'm doing, and I'm gonna feel like I can outsmart them. You know what I'm saying? But due to being mature, if you this also plays in modern times, and we're getting better today too. But this is just speaking on the point, and thus in all realms of adultery right now, if you're not mature and you don't act mature, you'll lose control, or you'll be unable to teach, or be able to create that net of foundation, and create that net of wholesome foundation that people in adolescence and innocence of all kinds and ages, and um, even plants and animals would cling to. Just the whole universe would come to if you were more mature about how you handle things. You know what I'm saying? They'll be more accepting of coming forth to you in a different manner to be taught whatever you have to teach them, instead of maturely just throwing things out there. That's when people act. Um, that's when people become revolutionaries, because you're combating their evolutionary standpoints, their natural evolutionary basis in which they want to evolve, that goes far beyond just increasing taxes. You know what I'm saying? They don't want their children growing up in this environment, and that's a natural function as well. So that's hugely played in people's psyche when certain uh, politicians, schools, people, even outside act certain ways. They're like, I don't want my child. I have to revolt. I have to combat what this person's doing, what this attitude is doing, what's going on around here. And even if it comes to locking people up, I need to. If I hear even more truth, even though that problem is handled, I need to make sure that this environment is completely clean. I mean, it stops a lot when people just throw the bone out there and they just want to lock people up. Okay, that person is gone, but you know, people don't think people aren't really thinking in depthly. Okay, then it sounds like the problem is being handled. So let me try to go in the mind of these people. So that problem is handled, and they believe everything is done. See, um, that is, I'm gonna have to be honest with you. That is where a lot of insanity comes from, because, like I explained before, the church was the state. The church was the government before the government separated from the church. And your sanctuary, your temple, has to do with your soul. That's why they always, point at your stomach, you hold your stomach, or you say your soul is your core. It's the middle part of which you exist, is your fire. Your brain, your heart. You know what I'm saying? There's no person, being, or animal in existence, no matter how natural it is, because it is natural to feel a certain woe, a certain sadness, or a certain feeling towards something dying. You know what I'm saying? All beings go through this. No matter what it is, plants, animals, people. Now, people don't have to eat meat. People don't have to eat meat, but plants have spirits and energy too. They're living things too. So you know what I'm saying? We don't even think that they're alive, but they're made for us to eat. You know what I'm saying? So in that aspect, they want to get ate by us and be redistributed out as pee and poop to be recreated, throughout the world and turn into gases and then go out into the universe. There's another way for them to explore and discover and expand. It's electricity, so it's the same. It's the same thing in which if they were alive. You know what I'm saying? In a way, you know what I'm saying? It's the same thing with the story of the Lion King. If lions and animals are meant to eat other meat, then they would look at it like these are the things that we were supposed to eat, and we'll be less sensitive to it. You know what I'm saying? We're kind of taught to be less sensitive towards eating animals, and we don't even see them out in the wild like that. And we don't see them having babies, and it's completely inefficient for people to eat and trap animals and stuff like that, and tear down wildernesses, and it makes no logical sense, because especially with us having the abilities to engineer traps or sedatives and even like we're not even doing nature uh, uh, any favors by mass producing any animals that we're eating right now. You know what I'm saying? There's like a template in which we all share around the world in which the type of animals we eat, and that's chicken, pigs, cows, and fish. You know what I'm saying? We all around the world, they're pretty much eating the same template. You know what I'm saying? They can be doing anything with these things, not even to mention that there should be no reason if that was what we're able to do, which we someone are able to do, just because of we have mouths in our uh see that's probably why I'll lose some people, but we're able to do it because how we're able to go through a trial and error process as evolutionary beings. You know what I'm saying? As any animal or organism in existence can do as well. Plants can absorb elements too. If they're not supposed to, that doesn't mean necessarily that they'll kill it. You know what I'm saying? Blood can seep in the soil and they'll still soak it up. Is it good or not good for plants? You know what I'm saying? You know, but I'm pretty sure, mercury will do it a number or it might not. You never know until you actually try it, which is what I'm going through. But that doesn't necessarily mean you're supposed to be, drinking cow milk and you're not. You know what I'm saying? That's another program designed to get us to believe that's what we're supposed to be doing. But my point is that we shouldn't all be on the same templates if there's billions of different species on this planet alone that we haven't even touched or tried to eat. You know what I'm saying? So why do we have to stay on the same, 4 or 5 table templates? It makes absolutely no sense. It's the same thing with the amount of plants we can eat. And you know what I'm saying? Like I'm on a specific diet, but this diet only arranges from about 100 different grains and vegetables and fruits. But there's so many different varieties of different plants and animals that far more exceed plants and people or anything on the earth or throughout the universe, throughout the realm of the universe. There's more. I can't even differentiate that, and it'll be wrong for me to even try to do that. But everything is living anyway. Everything is living. Everything is living. So I can't really. I shouldn't. I shouldn't try to differentiate life between people and animals and organisms to life in plants and elements as well, because everything is living. So you know what I'm saying. I'm just trying to say that there's more plant life than actual, because I'm pretty sure there's been plants that walk or move and stuff like that. We're walking plants too. So you know what I'm saying? Just what I mean. I'm just saying that was just it's more like leaves or trees and stuff than that. Probably people. You know what I'm saying? It's probably true. But you never know what planet you might step on and what kind of variations might be out there in terms of combinations of different organisms or beings and how big those planets are. Probably completely trump the blades of grass on this planet. You know what I'm saying? So I shouldn't even be saying those type of things. Just it can get that crazy. Um, but that just brings me to my point is that we shouldn't be on the templates of certain diets, nor should we be on um, templates at grocery stores that allows for anything to be appropriated in our foods or modified in our foods in we would be struck, uh, traumatically struck on anything. But that's thinking negatively. You know what I'm saying? But it still makes no sense why we would be getting distributed from multiple places from around the world, and we're always picking up these same type of foods. You know, just from a geographical means, it's not even hard to go to label this subject. This part of this what is it called, column? This segment, not the segment. This column in which I'm talking about, subjugated as geofoods, because geographically you have so many species of food, fish, animals and plants in one region. Here, this Texas, California, Arizona is cactuses, and Mexico, Honduras, and Jamaica. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. We should be distributing this to somewhere else, and vice versa. And you know what I'm saying? We shouldn't have templates. It makes no. It's completely illogical, geographically illogical. You know what I'm saying? Completely illogical. You know what I'm saying? It makes no sense. Not even to the people that come from different places to the United States of America, or vice versa. You know what I'm saying? That's how all of our sharing of our agricultures came about, as well as we shared foods from all around the world. We don't want to go somewhere and have to deal with the same foods. You know what I'm saying? I know you go other places and they have different foods as well, but you know they do. They actually do. They really do on a large scale. That's true. But it's still in some, even in some places, I don't even trying to. I ain't trying to I ain't trying to drop a veil over, you know, uh, the actuality of there actually being like trade shops and marketplaces, outside marketplaces in Philippines, Asia, India, and they have different foods and grains and stuff. They actually do. They really do. Ethiopia and stuff like that. They really do. That's true. But in terms of like socialized, uh, Western socialized area, cultivated areas, or however you want to explain it, socially engineered areas, it's like we're all dealing with the same templates until we, get out of this remote area. You know what I'm saying? And then we're back to real life, and then we just want to hop back on our phones and stuff. No, I'm not being pessimistic or anything like that. I'm just telling the truth. We belong outside of this realm of this society because they're teaching us too much wrong. You know what I'm saying? And it's better, it seems as though, and it is, in fact, more right to be fully expressive in our genotypes than it is to be conformed in this Western engineered civilization. You know what I'm saying? I don't even want to say Western. I don't know why people use that as a label. I understand it, but what would you say? Just this 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 manipulated, modified, conformist, socially engineered civilization. You know. But I'm about to go back to this point with this woman that would call the cops on somebody because they believe uh, it would solve their overall problem. Okay, so like I said, the church used to not even be separated from state. It used to be the same thing, and it would all coincide with your spirituality and what was actually going on with you, right? And what was actually going on in society. See, what else they don't tell us or tell you guys these days is that the church was the people. The church was the people, and the civilization, the village, the tribe, um, the society that you lived in was fully and well aware of its inner workings, of its people. Everybody knew of everybody on the planet. Once again, everybody knew of everyone of the planet, on the planet. Like there was no word to even describe having complete clarity in a society as there is today called transparency. There was there was camaraderie, there was unity, there was love, and there was cohabitation. They knew of they they existed in the naturality. They existed in the naturality of each other's ecosystems. They knew not to bring certain foods over here, and you know what I'm saying. And they knew, you know, if they wanted to, they could bring this type of food in this area. It wasn't necessarily completely abiding by the diseases. It was more so because they knew that they could still trade sometimes, and you know they knew you wouldn't exactly get a plague, or if it was a plague that would come with that fruit, it would just necessarily mean that that fruit wasn't for you for that particular area, and even then it wouldn't taste good for you. And then I mean, it wouldn't taste good to you. And even if it did taste good to you, and if it killed you, that meant to those tribes that your vibration that went into that soil and made that fruit, because that is where your geographics came from. That is how your people would either soon enough feel about me. That's how y'all feel about me now, or depending on the mathematical equation, there's something going on with your people that I need to know about, or my people will die too. Like there would be like information. I guess I kind of like pitch that point just to hold it down in what's happening today. There would be like information on the food that they would eat would give them knowledge of the people it came from. So you know what I'm saying? It was like why you feeding people, you know, hamburgers, you know what I'm saying, if you know this is what it does to them. You know, why you feeding people big meat or processed sugar if you know if it slows down their mental, or you know gives them ADHD or something, and why would you call a child a certain way if you know what I'm saying, stuff like that, if they're completely innocent, and by you speaking to them that way you're putting them in the sense. You know what I'm saying? They're now indecent because you're hitting them with a psychosis diagnosis to 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 furthermore put them in a depressive state within a depressive society to pure lights, pure infinite lights that are in constant expansion. That's why they're so hyper. They're so playful. They're so expressive at birth because they're lights. They're pure lights. That's pure expression. That's pure infinity. That's pure innocence. That's pure adolescence. You know what I'm saying? So this is how deep the knowledge goes, and this is how deep the knowledge we've actually left and came from. We didn't leave, but we got maneuvered away from it, so we no longer could eat things. We can no longer smell things. You know, people don't even use their senses anymore. A lot of people do, but like I said, you can tell that they're either operatives. They have some type of way of using these senses that's in terms of operations. They're not from this world, or you know they hunt nature or something like that, like they're nature boys or nature girls, or they have children and they like their instincts elevate again. Once you have children, they expand and they get reverted again because you go back to the source when you have sex. You know, you become natural again. I know I know why you did that, this, that, and the other. I got kids. You know what I'm saying? It's you always gonna go back to the source, and people do it all the time, no matter what line of work that they're in. You know, they always go back to the source. You know, you still have to abide by realities. You still have to abide by realities. Uh, your time lapsed realities uh, principles, whatever you're going through at this time, it's just another part. It's just a part of your story, but you still abide by the laws of nature. You know what I'm saying? Right now, we're just dealing with some intelligent beings. We just got to find our way out by using our instincts, our talents. You know what I'm saying? Our intellectual, uh, natural aroma, which is another, which comes from the origin, aura. So aura. So like smell, aroma, energy field, instincts. So you're thinking inside. It just means you better use your stomach, use your stomach, use your gut. That's what they say. So you gotta listen to these words and really how they put it on, because that's exactly what it means. So, like I said, so the woman would do that is completely ignoring the society that she lives in. She walks around here all day. This is the city of San Diego, huge homeless population. Used to be part of gangland. Um, they know they got corrupt officials around here, corrupt police officers, corrupt um, military police, corrupt military. This military bases around so many cesspools, so many trenches, so many trap houses, so many underprivileged neighborhoods. It's outrageous. So many drug spots. It's crazy. Right across the street. You know what I'm saying? Balboa Park over there by San Diego Zoo. It's a naval academy, and these people completely ignore the activities that's going on around them. That's hurting their society, and they're in the military. But that's not my point. I'm not for the military is still great people, and people do drugs are still great people. I'm just saying the obvious and how insane people actually are right now. You know what I'm saying? This is how insane they are, and we're all a part of it, even ourselves. But we're able to maneuver through pretty much anything as long as we exist, because we're fluent, we're fluorescent. You know what I'm saying? We will continue to blossom, through our transcendence, in which we would naturally be in any situation or time time lapse. Not lapse as in on top of each other, but the lap as in any existence that we would be reincarnated in these beings in any time. We would be able to be in nature in any type of natural setting or situation, and continue to be successful through our own natural fluorescence. We will continue to blossom. That's how intellectually talented, instinctually we are. We're able to do these things. We're pretty cold, as well as everything else that exists. Plants grass is going to tear this whole concrete building apart in a couple thousand years, and they doing it by themselves. All they doing is growing. You know what I'm saying? Our infants, our youngins are going to grow up. They're going to grow old, and they're going to take down aspects of this society that they're not going to like. They're just going to do it off of whim. They're Man, not even a small percentage of them are going to watch these videos. If they do, it's going to be something great. But a lot of them aren't going to watch my videos, and they're still going to be biological lightsabers, biological light people, in infinities. They're going to be infants. They're going to be infinities. They're going to be little infinities. And they're going to be little lights, and they're going to fight for what's right because it's embedded in their DNA to evolve, to ascend through their innocence from day one. You know what I'm saying? All science. It's all science. So, like I said, that woman, through just the knowledge of playing out sanity through your soul, just being completely harmonized with your entire existence. I'm not talking about going in your house, closing the door, eating some Cheerios. I'm not talking about none of that stuff. I'm not talking about watching the news. They just put out another reform, lock all the niggas up. Not talking about just black people, just everybody that's acting fool out there. Just lock them all up. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about every single last problem, because your natural basis comes from nature, and your natural basis comes from a camaraderie with your elemental people, in which we were all harmonized in order to make the tribes that we came from in nature, thus being completely unified and secure from which we came, being completely in being completely secure from our nations, our nationalities, completely harmonized. With the food we had, the animals were around us, and the people we were around. You know what I'm saying? And if you wanted to venture outside of that, that was your right. You know what I'm saying? Variables, all variables apply. Some people hated other tribes, other people loved other tribes, and other people told you not to mix breeds and uh, don't mix with this people, don't mix with that people, and some people like mix with this people and mix with that people. Everybody was just different. You know what I'm saying? We still go through it today. But as that woman would have the right to act in the way that she would act towards, locking certain people up if she believed, you know what I'm saying? But, also take in mind that you're also programmed to believe that people should just be locked up and be separated from, their chance of life as well. In their elevation from, for their lifestyle, their elevation from the standpoint in which they stand, without any help or without the understanding and without the understanding and or the assistance that some people may have had while they grew up, in order to mold them into prospective individuals in this society to be successful on their own. You know, in which they were supposed to be able to thrive naturally with or without their people, um, in the natural, abundant settings that was completely made for them to thrive in. You know what I'm saying? Of course, they would have to go through the same trial as everybody else. Is that you have to thrive in nature with other things out there, and the possibilities of you surviving with the tools that you were given is, you know uh, is one, not one in a million, but it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like your chances are huge that you that that you will live a very long time. You know what I'm saying? Given with who you are, not only as a person, plant, or a thing, or animal. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has a chance to exist, but you still have to respect the other side of death, in which exists as well, that is imminent for anybody. You know what I'm saying? At any given time. So I'm gonna say this point, and I can't believe I took an hour just to say this. um, this is because this knowledge is so in depth, like it's crazy. Like this woman, so for the woman, she she would be completely ignoring that she still needs gas in her car. She would still be ignoring where people got this gas from, why they went to war for it. This going like every single spit that you could talk about. The woman, what clothes she got on, is it sweat factory clothes? Um, what kind of material the car is made out of, what kind of shoes her shoes is made out of. Um, you know, what type of food you're eating. You know what I'm saying? What type of food are you giving your child? You know, like she's ignoring all these these variables, all these points. Um, you know, I'm pretty sure once she saw that person acting the fool on the road, she probably was like, "What the?" You know what I'm saying? And the first time she just passed him up. She ignored her natural instinct to stop because either she didn't have any money, she didn't believe she could help him, she was afraid, and she just through literally ignored her natural instinct to be a woman or a friend or a neutral good Samaritan and just help that person out because we're all connected throughout this universe, throughout every existing thing. We are all connected through the light. You know what I'm saying? So you had a natural instinct, just like anything else. An insect could crawl towards you and just be like, give you some type of frequency, electrical, hint, like, hey, what's up? You know, what I'm saying? Crawling on your ass and shit like that. Like anything can. So she also ignored that, and then she like, oh, call the police, at least get them off the street. You can be an a-hole. You know what I'm saying? Or you can just be like, oh, I don't want to see him around there because I don't want my person, my kid to grow up like that or nothing like. I don't want to continue to see that or nothing like because it scares me. I'm going through other anxiety things that I'm going through, which is just another description of your world being out of imbalance. And since everybody's going through anxiety and stress, it's simply because other people and other beings are going through the same thing and are a whole like even people that are doing even people that are doing okay. I might have been the person in the car. Even the people that are doing okay per se. Um, Everybody is fully aware of the existence of nature. So if nature gets cut down or anything like that, or something is out of balance with nature, whether it be people, another ethnicity, like people feel that, and it becomes an insecurity because even though our tribe and our ethnicities might be in harmony, there's still variables in which there's still certain scales that we exist in ecosystems. Like if a bee stops pollinating trees, pollinating certain flowers, certain things, certain bacteria come and then we die, or pollution, stuff like that. It's the same thing with people. People don't believe that, but it actually is. You know what I'm saying? There's no probability to actually combat those type of things when in actuality actually exists in nature itself. You know what I'm saying? And we go through it today emotionally, if not, you know, neutrally, naturally. You know what I'm saying? It just happens. We're constantly ignoring them. You know what I'm saying? I.e., for an example, you know what I'm saying? You can just speak upon, African American art and how we push people to evolve, past their, you know, past their natural statuses. But all types of different ethnicities help us in different ways, and I'm pretty sure there's a more biological and depth way to find out what we actually do in nature through our nationalities that'll bring out a whole lot more color to what we understand now and what we used to understand, and how that can propel us further into the future, uh, and really put us in a state of mind that we would never let go again because the understanding would be just so beautiful. You know what I mean? So what I'm just saying about the lady is that she would be ignoring humongous amount of information just by sending that person to jail. You know what I'm saying? Everybody knows what happens in jail. People know what goes on in jail. That person, these people that do those type of things ignore those type of things. You know what I'm saying? But that's just a natural emotion. That's another reason why what that woman did is just a natural emotion. Another reason why aliens told me that, and I never judge people, but I didn't know that I reached a foundation, a dimension in my mind. They also sent me to different dimensions, alternate dimensions, but I was in a dimension, a foundative dimension in my mind that I had in place to judge people who were doing right from wrong, because I still didn't understand absolutely everything. So what I didn't understand, I was like, okay, pedophilia. I was like, oh shit, that's nigga, that's fucked up. I was like, what the fuck else? Okay, I understood people judging people. Okay, I was like pedophilia. I was like, oh fuck that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like rape. You know what I'm saying? Like hurt is still hurt though, but it was like pedophilia and rape in a different aspect other than just going out there and hurting people. You know what I'm saying? And it's not to say and put forth this is okay. Hurting people is not okay. You know what I'm saying? But like saying that like, okay, what if these aliens came down and they were just like us, and they look just like us, like some people would have documented, just for example, and they would say certain men would be in pedophilic with certain young ladies, just like you get from certain other ethnicities from different places. They'll be like, oh, he's from this place, and this is why he acting towards these girls this way. But you know, but girls in these parts would be like, okay, we can't do that because over here they said I'll get in trouble, and I was never raised or taught like that, so I have no clue what you're talking about anyway. So you kind of scaring me, you know what I'm saying? So everybody will point at him. This is what it is, but actually in nature, biological nature, what's going on is that you know what I'm saying. Just like just when you reach like junior high, coming out of I think you coming out of elementary school, you start to develop. And even nowadays in modern times, they put more testosterone and hormones in the food, so these women are getting more sexual, and young men are getting more aggressive. And that also comes from our DNA and generational predictions, in which they would know as we were becoming sexually depressed that as they were putting food and certain hormones and additives in our foods, it would increase our aggression to revolt. You know what I'm saying? To revolt and go against the grain, thus mass incarceration, and how the United States pretty much jumped everybody and putting people in jail around the world because they knew through this food that we would become more sexually aggressive towards our natural nature. And that only makes us smarter. But this food is also applicable. It also applies to how we get oxygen to our brain. So they also knew that they had to take out any intellectual information or curriculum and things we watched on TV, and also put this and also chunk this food at us. So we would get no intelligence from it as well. So now we're belligerently crazy. You know what I'm saying? If it wasn't for social media, you know, we would still be evolving, of course, but we would still have a hard time. We would still be having a hard time as we are today. You know what I'm saying? God bless social media, because it salute, because it really turned out a whole lot better than any of us actually thought. It's actually a tool for us. It really brought us together, real talk. So so biologically, as these young women are developing, and these young men, you know what I'm saying? You hear it throughout all the realms that even I at 14, I had sex with a 24-year-old. You know what I'm saying? I was out there, and even we didn't hear. We know everybody didn't hear all these stories through the grapevine. Is young ladies having older boyfriends and stuff. And all ethnical races. You name it, they always have older boyfriends. It's just they try to hide that away from everybody, and like, oh, it's wrong. Oh no, you can't do this, or you can't do that. And some people are accepting of it. Some countries is very accepting of it. It's over here. You know what I'm saying? Just to reinforce the actual knowledge that's actually real. And then going back to the natural biological standpoint, it actually is what it is. Because now he stared me down. I stared him down. He slowed his car down. I looked over here. I heard him slow his car down, and I looked back over there. He speeds up. I like, nigga, what the fuck? Don't hit me like that, blood. But so going back down to the naturality, I hit the I descended from my ascended place to come back down to you guys from a place that I'm at. I don't even have to be ascended. It's all varied everywhere. But I'm just using that as an example and a foundative example in which you guys can understand. I went through those stories to tell you guys the natural biology of it all. As these women and young men are developing, they are now seeing the light in the evolutionary sexual prowess and ambitions. Okay, now I can recreate myself, and now I'm gaining more sexuality, more vibration, more hormones, more energy my way to create even a whole lot more, because I want my chances to increase creatively to reproduce with as many people as I possibly can in as many varieties as I possibly can. You know what I'm saying? So now these kids are in school. They're seeing all these people. They out here follow blocking. They out here on TV. They out here doing this and that and whatnot. The parents knocking boots. Guys looking at you. Girls looking at you. I mean, man, I don't even want to say, like, man, be construction workers looking at all types of girls. Like older women, they try to act like they don't look at younger men, but they do. You know what I'm saying? You see a young prospective man in the suit or something, a older woman gonna let you look handsome. Then it be some women that look at him like, and then their dad be like, "That's one of them." You know what I'm saying? Like they try to play this game, but in reality, it is what it is. It really is what it is. So going down to the biological standpoint, okay, once they reach that point, they actually want to try to have sex now. They want to make children as soon as possible. They want to practice. You get tigers that want to hunt as soon as possible. You get you get you get you get monkeys that want to play games as soon as possible. But it all will venture out to, okay, as soon as I get old enough, or as soon as I'm able to uh, uh, manifest enough, as soon as I'm able to position myself in a certain height, I can mate with whoever I want to mate with, no matter what it is. You know what I'm saying? And that whenever that point reaches itself, that's when it happens. Now, vice versa, you have you have beings like ourselves, or if a lioness sees a prospective young male, and he can act naturally, and he can be just as good as certain people, he's gonna have children at that age. If he's able to combat certain other lions, and if he can hold a certain caliber as an adult lion, he will have children ASAP. If he can do it, he can do it ASAP, and that is the law of nature. Same thing with monkeys, but that is the adult aspect going upon that understanding. You know, going back forward from to that. Now, if you have an abundant lifestyle from I don't even want to say a herbivoric standpoint, or just leaving it at bay with animals, because it doesn't always ally. I'm going to have to do a whole lot more research, because I know there's a lot more evidence um, backing what I say, but it doesn't always rely on the foundation of just plain out resources, because not even everywhere around the world has the abundance of resources just for things to reproduce, and nor do things reproduce immediately, not upon age, not it, and it doesn't and it's not being dictated from age, but it's being dictated from um, seasons, climates, times, and time lapses, areas, how certain beings are attuned to certain areas, um, certain traditions that certain evolutionary biological organisms have carried through their DNA throughout their whole family bloodline and ancestral bloodline is the reason why they made in certain days in certain places. Uh, they have magnetic fields that attract them to certain places in order for them to mate. And that's why they do it too. That's why people go to beaches. Wait till a dude passing by. You have another stare moment. But there's other aspects to why, you know, aspects and times in which people would actually mate. That nigga just looked at my screen. That nigga hold for that. But but in terms of us, in the way us as in human beings and how we are able to comprehensively exist in our existence, that means I see, I can touch, I can do. I see, I can touch, I can do it. Is it against whose law? Not my law. They don't want it to happen, so we can't. And that is the law of our nature right now. Is it natural? No. But how we feel is different. What you're taught, I can feel the vibration against it because you're more. The word is not inquisitive. I think it's inquisitive, but you have more questions about why. But it's the fear, as you can see from a man's perspective, or a young lady's perspective, or an older lady's perspective, without the fear of of a young man's perspective that has without fear as well, because it doesn't work on the same basis. You know what I'm saying? They usually hold it in contempt of, you know, men and younger women. You know what I'm saying? But this is this this leaves this isn't actually it's just it's simply put in that way. But we're completely equal for one another. We're completely equal amongst one another. So the combative realm is actually being used from a feminine standpoint in the control of men, using our sexual counterparts and opposites against us to train them to train us to hold our money and hold their wombs. You know what I'm saying? That is their focal point. That is their pivot. Is the female? Is the female? Is there? It's the negative. It's not negative as in bad. It's the in all be all. Is that I need that space to create matter, and you can't recreate matter unless you had that currency, which is energy, which is the money in your pocket, the resources that we give you, and we control you. That's how I started. And with the control of you, we control your resources for that woman. So we are in control of her right now, of her mind. So she has to do everything that we say and teach her from this point on, because she now lies in our world, in our universe. So we're teaching her right from wrong, tit for tat right now. And we're modifying your mind. We're modifying the man's mind by the currency, by his matter, by his rod, by his light. You teach your womb what we want it to do, and we teach you what you're able to create and recreate in existence, with whom and with you do it with. Now you look in Bible, ancient scriptures, and you know whatever it may be, And you're gonna see concubines from the youngest to the oldest. You know, sexual partners from the youngest to the oldest. All society, all societal things. I mean, I don't have to explain it even furthermore because I spit the science to you, and it's complete. It's complete. It's complete knowledge, and it's completely comprehensible. That's another blink that people go through. Is like they hear the truth and they don't realize that they're skipping over the truth because they want to hear something to get you in trouble now, or they want to hear something to um, get you off track, or to recombat you or the knowledge that you spit in order to delete that information in their mind, which is a natural evolutionary processing operation that your body goes through, your brain goes through, based off of association. So you go through all the information in your mind and then you spit it back and you go, okay, what if? But what I told you is completely from the dirt and it's completely understandable. So even if you try to combat it and go through anything else, you probably go to a complete credible source, scientific source, and try to discredit it that way. But it was nowhere near as comprehensive as I just told you. You know what I'm saying? And I can go on all day about it. You know, it's completely true. It's like what the aliens explained to me. You're not gonna eat a piece of fruit until it's ready to be eaten. You know what I'm saying? As soon as these children is ready, they get it. You know what I'm saying? I know 4-year-old boys that got erections. You know what I'm saying? I I don't know if I actually I was sexual when I was 7. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like girls was, I damn near got kidnapped and raped by like a young girl when I was like 7. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like kids play house. Like don't even get started. And they try to, people try to erase it from their minds. You get all types of people, soccer moms, like, oh, Jimmy wasn't doing that. He was just, you know what I'm saying? The kids weren't playing house like that. They were just, you know what I'm saying? Like, why are y'all trying to fight it? So, like, this is that blink that they go through. But I like the aliens told me I can't judge people. You know what I'm saying? Because I was going through it, but naturally I can judge them because I'm just trying to elevate them. So it's just me being natural, raw thought. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to learn. I was blessed to get chosen. Um, but there's a lot of people that's not without this information too. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Um, but what I was meaning about that pedophilia and rape thing is like some beings or some native people will see people acting that way and they'll be like, you don't like sex? You don't like sex? Do you not know what your womb can do? Like they would be that animate about what do you mean you don't like penis? What do you mean you don't like Rob? What do you mean you don't like giving birth? Like who told you that? You know what I'm saying? Like they're really like that. Like real talk, they're really like that. And some people that's just their thing too. You know what I'm saying? And they would it's like whooping them, but it's like whooping them with like love. You know what I'm saying? And once they have a kid and that child has a kid, then this whole government and this whole society goes completely out the window and God speaks to them. You made life. Who the fuck are they to tell you that you can't make life right now? That's what our native ancestors used to say. That's what our native people, they used to come over here. They used to be blasted with ink all over their face, think them gangster niggas doing something new. No, they not. They used to be blasted all over their face. Them niggas knew voodoo, biotechnology, all types of shit. And them niggas fought back. They've done this before against societies like this, but highly way more advanced societies in other different dimensional realms and had immense battles from people trying to mass manipulate things. You know what I'm saying? Just like how animals get eaten in the wild and you know, they evade and fight and stuff like that. We go through the same thing in outer space intellectually. You know what I'm saying? Maybe not on a vastly immense scale because ain't nobody eating nobody, but a lot of people have sex with one another out there, and a lot of people believe they can be gods over one another. You know what I'm saying? It's just it's nature. You know what I'm saying? Safe havens, harmony, unified places. There's more than there are bad. Good news. It's just that's just how nature works. It's in the ecosystem, in the harmony of the ecosystem where everything is solidified, and it's all good. But going back to what Aya was teaching me is that I have to embrace every single last thing. Just before I start that, another reason why how the United States or other places that are out there going into outer space, and this is even seen on like Star Wars, Star Trek, and other space movies. Like another reason why they can't go out there and just cause havoc in like other realms and other universes is because dimensions are so just like how we were born individually out there, and there are other different alien beings out there and stuff like that. It took different pressures and different elements to make these other alien type of beings, to make these types of universes. All the universe, even this type of universe, all of this don't look just completely dark outside. Some of these places got different like 7 moons and 10 suns around them, and you know what I'm saying? Like the pressure is different, the light's different, the gravity's different. Like some of our telescopes and some of our satellites can't even see or go anywhere near these places. And they'll probably be like, this is the end of the universe, and they'll probably see like another TV over there or something. But it's really not. It's just we're not allowed to go over there, or we haven't evolved yet, or the nature of our space and universe hasn't you know evolved and meshed and evolutionized itself with that universe's combination. It's a word for that. It hasn't compounded with that universe yet for us to coexist with them yet. And it also works in the harmony of the understanding of our universe. Maybe they just not ready, and what they got going over there is nowhere near the shit we ready for on some Prometheus shit. Like some shit over there, I'm probably not ready to see myself, and my vibration is shit that's holding you back from going through there and shit. You know what I'm saying? It can be as small as but as real as that. You know what I'm saying? But what Aya was teaching me, and this is going along with me teaching myself martial arts, because I hate the fact that all this all this all this um all this temple running, all this martial artists that used to exist back in the days, everybody's just grabbing for money. Everybody's just trying to be the coldest MMA trainer and this and that and the fourth and stuff. Like I'm really looking for a traditional place for me to, Haikido and shit. And like I'll put my money, I'll spend my money in that. I'm trying to also open up like a religious temple to actually put this down on wax and actually, teach people and bring them back to the ancestral hood. But I'm caught in, with I'm caught in a wind of like being like standardized at that one location. And every single time I walk out or walk by, it's like I get in touch with more people because I know like verbatim for verbatim, you know, why your feet look like that. Of course I gotta go like in depth and shit like that, but and I have to also research and learn more on why exactly, why your feet actually does this. But now I can just, but off of just jump, I can tell you eating certain things. I can tell what you need to do and what you need to eat. You know what I'm saying? It may not be completely in depth, but what I'm saying is that religiously, scientifically, dietarily, um, hell, I can really say it now, and I can help a whole lot more people outside as I continue to grow and learn more than I can, even if I found uh, establish myself at a location. So but that but what if I walk over here and somebody need help and they can just go to the place? You know what I'm saying? And people need help now. You know what I'm saying? So you can create like a foundation in which everybody can call to and come to and understand, what you wrote down while you out there doing stuff. That's great. And I know people will come, but it also it's all like it's people are tired of Jehovah's Witnesses, and then I'll be always animated to just run up to people instead of just seeing natural problems occur, and I'll be able to handle things from that, point of view. But it's not. It's also not my Uh, it is mine. Seeing that we're all connected. I gotta honk your horn with all that bullshit, man. While driving something. But it's not saying that I can't speak to everybody because that's part of my element. It is to be elegant, but I understand that people aren't always ready for that information. That's why you become magnetically attracted to certain people because of certain aspect that you have to fulfill in that situation due to this reincarnation that you'll be familiar with, so on and so forth. And of course, other people will be with you that will hold certain attributes to accommodate for other people that's not paying attention. You know what I'm saying? Using sex as a weapon, women or even intelligence, as instincts. You know what I'm saying? It's plenty of ways to combat, you know, uh, uh, Constantine. It's plenty of ways to combat or use your own means of Leviathan. There's plenty of ways to combat this wheel of sin. You know what I'm saying? And you have multiple tools because you are infinite. You have multiple ways of being creative. Facets of uh, creativity. You know what I'm saying? And that all aligns also with martial arts. Um, ninjas, ninjas and heroes. The reason why you hear heroes with certain puns, and Batman's like, oh, you can't do crime here, you whatever like that, you evildoer, or they always have some monologue with being a hero, or they always preach this big huge this it's a monologue. They always give off this huge speech before they destroy a villain because of the reason why they're fighting for it. This all comes from the church. With the power invested in me, I don't know how this nigga made a U-turn. I don't know these niggas get paid so goddamn much. Small ass street, this nigga made a U-turn on a big ass damn 16 wheeler. I don't know how he did that. But here it is. Loud ass BMW. That shit don't never move. First time I seen this shit on the road, I'm hating though. My shit be like a million skin though. You know what I'm saying? I see on them hoes, bro. Fuck with it. I was still clean. Hold on. So all these things, like even they even use the same regimen that police use, military use, the proud and the free, and we fighting for everybody on planet Earth. And the United States of America, the land of the home of the brave, and stuff like that. All this stuff came from the church, and the church um, emulated the understanding of the sciences from ascendants, from ancestral ascendants, which is you are their heirs, their descendants, but you arise from birth, from the light of the birth canal into the light of ascendants to become, as an angel, to become an actual angel, to actually become an ancestral angel. And as you continue to fight for the light, you will be accepted uh, as one of your ancestors, which will increase your frequency as a ghost, which will increase your frequency and your vibration as an astrological being, along with your ancestors. And with that like-mindedness and the vibration of the evolution in which we all are, to great to be the greater good of the evolution of all things, you will be one with them once again. Of course, you'll be able to differentiate with one another in you guys' realm. But as you continue to fight for the light, your vibration increase, so you are able to hear the Force, Star Wars, within you, and you'll be able to fight for what is right. You know what I'm saying? Vice versa for people that are trying to do wrong. You know what I'm saying? But the whole entire process is to reach for the light, and that's for everything. Everything comes from the darkness within the light, and the light within the darkness. It's a duality in it all, and it doesn't. The darkness isn't necessarily evil, nor is the light necessarily good, nor is it evil, vice versa. You know what I'm saying? But um, ultimately, everything does reach for the light. Everything is ascending and evolving towards the light. So you'll get more power from absolutely everything. You get this from Goku, the Spirit Bomb, um, people's common emotions to actually living life. An organism is always fighting to reproduce or die or kill itself off for a common good or a common common success, or it's not called a success, a common like an obligation that has to, like something that has to do in order to become successful in nature, or is supposed to be nature, like kamikazes, or what I'm saying, pseudos, Japanese samurais, like killing themselves so other people don't get the honor to do it, like. But all what I'm saying is this: all these heroic say-sos and monologues and run-throughs and all that feedback from nature, all that electricity, all that currency. People like, what you gonna do with it? I'm gonna give it to charity, or I'm gonna build, or you get all this feed from your natural instincts because of evolution and your ascendance to the light, which we all do. But they got like every aspect of how we act towards things that are cancerous or criminal, that all the renditions of heroes, or heroes, superheroes, militaries, police officers, or just individuals, people, just people, everybody. Now, it didn't originate from the church, of course, but we're all acting naturally in our ways to prosecute something. We're all Xing it out. We're all. That's another thing that I went through with the aliens, is that there were if you weren't being like yourself and sexually being yourself, being a recreator, a procreator, what was going on is that people would X you out, and if you were being X'd out, they made you go to the beach. They made you go to the beach, sit down, and rethink your plan, because everybody, as you were walking, they were teaching you things. You were speaking to everybody telekinetically, and you was like on pace. You was on pace. I-N-E, 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 I-N-E. And this means that, this means that, this means that, this means that. It was constantly training you, and women would constantly uh, looking at you and, hitting you up, looking at you and this stuff, this and that and the other, and they was busting different scenarios on you. So as soon as you pulled up to a bad female, or you pulled up to a prospective man, they put you like either in the lowest place, and they made you look at that man and be like, okay, how you feel? You know what I'm saying? Like, and they didn't allow you to think or postpone your emotion towards a certain person or aspect. They made you feel it. So these even emotions that you got rid of and you grew past, they brought that back, and they made you feel it again. No matter what part of the life you was. I felt certain emotions that I felt when I was like 4 years old, that those aliens brought up, and they made me feel it when I was looking at certain people. They even made some of my family members like scream in my head, and made me like they made me like like they made my family members screaming like carnage, while I thought about like women sexually. Like, they did things like that. You know what I'm saying? Just to be like, you know what I'm saying? So, it was real difficult. But those are the type of things they did. Even worse, or even in a higher setting, they made me even believe that they made me even talk. uh, it even put me in a higher light, and they made me look at like people that were less fortunate, right? And at the time, I didn't judge anybody, nor did I ever judge anybody. Like I said, I had to go through like a certain dimension in which demons can only touch me if I had a certain thought process, and I wasn't touched. You know what I'm saying? Like some of them looked around, but never nothing happened, and every demon was different. So it wasn't just like you know what I'm saying? Like they just popped out because you did that, and you think that's what they did to you, but really they'll put like something in you, so you walk around the corner, and then a demon will fuck you up. You know what I'm saying? Type shit. Like it was some horrible ass shit. You know what I'm saying? From what I heard, I went through it, but I didn't have to go through like the worst of the worst. But uh, some of the aliens' children um, that were already telekinetically and psychically inclined, and they knew the ins and outs, which is another story in the Bible. I think it's a story in the Bible. It's a story in the Bible. It's a movie or something. But the aliens' children, they were so telekinetically and spiritually trained that they were actually sent to these demonic places, and it's actually used as a training ground. You know what I'm saying? And these aliens are also in cahoots with like voodoo priestess and all types of deals of people that actually really know what they're doing, just in case their children, or themselves get cursed or hit or hexed. You know, you know, these telekinetically beings, these alien beings, these voodoo beings, these voodoo people, and magic people, they have like real relationships too. So like somebody like a woman tripping on you, it'll be a hex over you, and you be like, man, what you tripping on? Like, what's going on for real? You know what I'm saying? So you gotta find out what she tripping about, and it could be something so in depth. It can even be part of something that happened in the past life between the two of you that she didn't realize that was consistent with the association of uh, both of you guys' lifestyles, that it didn't remind her of um, what you guys had shared in that past lifetime. A lot of us are actually reborn, recreated from recycled matter. So we're actually, reincarnations of which we are reincarnations, and we're part of an ancestral bloodline that actually existed. So it wouldn't be far tuned from actually seeing somebody from a past life per se on the real. If they genes made it this far, and even if they didn't, you still get a vibration and frequency that was reincarnated in somebody's womb, and you probably see them around like, man, why that person look familiar? Nigga, you don't know how old you actually are. You don't know how old you really are, nigga. Like, you know what I'm saying? Your genes, nigga, you're recreated. I'm 28. Nigga, I'm probably damn millions of years old. Shit. Real talk, because I'm the sperm. I'm the sperm of the sperm of the sperm of the sperm of the sperm. I'm old as shit. You know what I'm saying? So, real talk. You know? But I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, that Sodom and Gomorrah thing. So, those their people were actually able to go into these dimensions and actually train there and shit like that. So, I don't know why I brought that up about myself, though. Oh, okay, but oh, just to move forward, like these ciphers, like ciphers came from priestess. Ciphers came from priestess. Um, what is it called? The rosary came from priestess. That's another melodic, poetic, verse spitting deal. Another scripture, melodic, wordplay scripture, inciting, something like that. Man, what is it? talismans. Um, man, um, just like how witches make rhymes out of every spell. Um, how priests make their um their wordplays rhythmic 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 something like that. Like what you're really doing is you're speaking this frequency and this harmonic frequency through um through your alchemy of word and mathematics and chemistry over to that being in their existence, and you're defeating them with your science. You know what I'm saying? And all that flows into that being, and it destroys it or dismantles it. This is it's called chemistry. That's what it's called. It's called chemistry, but it's called something. Um, I think that's what you would call an exorcist. You would call it and yeah, you would call it that's like what you like. So seeing that matter cannot be created or destroyed, this is where you get the religious connotation from people of religious origins. They'll be like, you have to exorcise that demon out. You have to, yeah, there you go. You have to exorcise that demon out. And really, they're saying that you have to dismantle or you have to re-expand and put back that demon from which it came. That's why a lot of people in their exorcist dialogues tell this demon or being or witches or whatever say, you know, no matter where they come from, they tell them to come back from which they came, and that's how you speak to that being's frequency. You know, not only through your spell, or you can entrap it or whatever, well, like that. But how you really destroy it is that you see this in movies and all types of deal. You send it back to where it came. You know what I'm saying? So you really uh, so right there, right there, I think I'm starting to understand why I'm saying all this. Right there is where you actually get in order for you to send these beings back from where they came, you would understand fully, you would have to have the power to understand fully from which they came and why they would have came out. You know what I'm saying? Or you wouldn't have the power to put back those beings, those demons, from where they came from. You know what I'm saying? Like those aliens, they used to have like they have phones, or you have like old school people that like twirled twine and stuff like that, and they knew exactly where these demons came from. Like demons or jinn gods or something like that. They would come out. Jinn gods just mean like the fire, the the Satanist place, like the fire, the foundation of the fire, like the foundation of darkness, the foundation of the light, the foundation of the colors. From basically, it's like a standpoint before you turn on the light. That's what jinn means. It means like your soul. So it's like jinn gods mean like nymphos, elements, niggas, like from um, from the beginning and where everything comes to jinn, you know, jinn gods. So basically, they can just create sorcery. They can just make things come to from out of anywhere. So these aliens, and you get like voodoo priests and priests, like in-depth master priests and stuff like that. They'll look at their books and all that stuff. They'll flip through it and they'll be like, okay, this is where you from. This is what you do. Okay, that means I can speak to you now. That's what they all do. I'm speaking to your ancestral bloodlines right now. This is what they all do. This is how you interpret it and stuff like that. And this is how you send them all back. But you got to know what you know how to do in chemistry, like messing with flowers and concretes and light and how to reinterpret light and sorceries, and you can make your own wand, you can make your own staff, you can make your own biotechnology. You can use all this stuff to really fight beings because you can see them in different romantic aspects, and you can really fight them through technology. as long as your technology is as in depth as nature is. If it's not going to detect it. You know what I'm saying? But you have the possibility because you are an engineer. You know what I'm saying? And the governor of the planet as an individual, as you know, as we all are, as we are orgasms sexually, orgasmically are. We have the power to create. You know what I'm saying? We all do. You know what I'm saying? Other beings have different powers and such. But our ability, as it was psychologically, telekinetically, which we still have a piece of it left. We can still sense things and shit. You know, we still got it in depth. But now we're more in tune with like alchemy and shit. We're more physicality, and we're still going to evolve to things that we want to be. You know what I'm saying? Like that, we go into outer space and we see aliens. Of course, we're going to want to mate with things that have telekinetic power because we want our kids to have telekinetic power too. Or we might be, more genomic. We might more like create things with our hands. That's whatever fits your fancy. You know what I'm saying? Which is out there, and we'll be able to collaborate. You know, with whoever it was. Also, I watched B.O.B. It was funny because I thought a lot of this information, a lot of people forgot about the Egyptians and other ancient cultures actually gene splicing. And I told y'all about that Nefertiti shit, about everybody saying Nefertiti was light skinned and she was like Persian and European, nigga. Nigga, Nefertiti was damn black, nigga, and they thought Nefertiti was a fucking alien, blood. That's why she wore that helmet. Nigga, we, like, niggas from the 90s, little kids from the 90s remember these stories, and they used to have that little alien cat. That, and they said the aliens conquered Egypt before all this information came fat. You know what I'm saying? Like, real talk. They said all that shit. Nefertiti was an alien, blood. Like, cut all that BS, real talk. That's all they would think. They spray painted them Egyptian skulls and made them lighter and shit. Richard Pryor said that. Nigga, come on now. Niggas gotta wake up on that shit. But basically, but what I'm trying to speak to you is like they used to go through all this. They used to go through all their phones, they used to speak to their ancestors, the ones, rolling twill, like, they have like an inanimate object and they'll keep reaching back to their childlike nature so they can talk to just so they can help them talk to the being within. And there's so many different ways that they see how I was doing it. Different ways that they can talk to the light within. Other people have different powers in different ways. Some people use the Kundalini, like they'll have sex, and through the sex they can use mantra or tantra to speak to different lifetimes, and speak to future times, or just go through the frequency and speak to like animals and plants through having sex with one another. And that's why you have sex with different people to gain different frequencies and different DNAs from different times and lifetimes, because it's more knowledge. Reinforcing, going back to children having sex and stuff like that. It makes you smarter. Sex makes you smarter. It's a reincarnate comedic light spark. Like that's not a cop out. That's actually it's more intuitive with what I was just trying to say. It's a reconnecting with the light as soon as you're able to um, reconnect with it. And really, you don't even have to stop, because you can drink those fluids and drink on the breast as long as you can, and you get nutrients from sperm. And I don't want to go too overboard with people's psyche, but I'm just trying to put people on. But just know the sex makes you smarter. So elders having sex with youngins, that makes you smarter naturally. Youngins having sex with other youngins, all they doing is stacking on each other's intelligence and speaking to the universes in a different way that we haven't understood yet. But that's another practice that they used to do as well, is because that child would have new answers, as well as we wouldn't have stopped having answers because we were all infinites. But it would also have been an honor not only for that child too, but that child, that elder to bring the child in. That's all honorable. You know what I'm saying? So but like I said, they would go through all their stuff and they would be like, I know where you came from, I know why you're here, and this person didn't do that, so you have to leave. And that being would talk back to them, and they'd be like, hey, this is what he did, and this is why I have them in captivity, and this is why I can be here. I have the right to be here because this is the person of this person, this and this person. And they're like, what are you talking about? This and they like they would go back and forth because these beings would have rights to come here, and if they wouldn't have been there. It's the same thing with bacteria and viruses and germs and shit like that. So they'll be like, shh, shh. So they'll bump on their alchemy. They'll use their magic and stuff like that. And they like if the sciences didn't work, then for some reason that being would have some type of right of being there. You know what I'm saying? And all transcendence, of course, you can destroy certain things within its right of being destroyed, but everything also has a right to being there as well. You know what I'm saying? Speaking on natural emotions like anger and stuff like that, which is I'm just gonna have to tie this in which Ayo was teaching me. He was like, I can write people like his talent was like painting things and he can get people telekinetically to act upon whatever he was painting. So people were like killing everybody, he could paint that and people would start like becoming angry. Aya could paint people being sad or horny, and that's exactly what was going on. That's how Aya's talents worked. And he would just sit on that block and he would just paint all day and do all that type of stuff. But eventually he became more broad demanded and like broad-handed in creating societies and civilizations. Engineering, which he did because he's an insect person. He was like dark skin engineer. Black. You came back? Oh no! Shit! I was messing with Shouty. Yeah. I fell in love with a bad one though. But that's another thing I'm gonna explain in my video. I'm gonna start another one. It's gonna be after like 15 minutes. I'm gonna go inside. Okay, so yeah, so that's what he did. But you could always fight back through your witchcraft, your voodoo, your sorcery, and your Christianity, which is just talking about the Scientology of the beginning. And what I mean is that um, and this is how everything in prosecution started. Was prosecuting people down to the roots of their soul of everything. That was the science. Everybody knew where everything came from and why you was acting this way, why you was doing these things. They knew where you came from. They knew where your beings came from. They knew where your tribe came from. And if you weren't in complete ordinances, penal codes, penal glands, penal. If you weren't in complete order with your existence, your reality, you had to be checked. You had to be prosecuted. Thank you, my nigga. I know what I'm talking about. Check it.